Good evening, bootketeers. How the devil? Sounds alright. Blowing my fucking ears off there. Yeah. Marvellous. How's everyone doing? Alright? Had a few days off again because spent the bank holiday weekend in Yorkshire. Yorkshire. It's a bit like Worcestershire or Middleburg, but better than those two places. And I am biased because I lived in York for a long time. It's a great place. If any of you guys have never visited York, I heartily recommend booking a bed and breakfast or a room above a pub inside the walls and spending the weekend roaming around those ancient walls that are in better nick than the likes of Bath and Norwich. It's a bit of a hidden secret. Hey up, Foxy, how you doing? And all the regulars, how's life? Tracy, Charles, Skin Tone, Zardoz, Prof Andy, Ragnar, Tony T, a smile a day, Glenn, Plague Marine, hello again, Shams, how you doing? Origami Pig, now then, Sad Wings, always a pleasure. Tony T, Highlander, David Scott, David Scobie, Paul, Rathchild, Carl, and anyone else who I've missed. How's it going? Storm Toss Sailor, who are you calling lazy? I will not be called lazy by a sailor. That is an impossibility for a bootneck to be accused of such things by a matlaw. Anyway, I thought I would start with some Gucci war-y stuff on here because I know there's probably only about 30% of my audience are into military stuff. I don't like to bang the military drum all the time like Chris Thrall and a few others. They're very military-orientated channels. Mine isn't. It's more comical, political satire. But I do occasionally do it because people are interested. And I'm going to talk about this because it's Gucci looking. But I have my criticisms, so let's watch the video. For some reason, the sound shit, it must be the BBC because it works fine with YouTube, but not here. So let's test it. Looks pretty Gucci, doesn't it? Very Iron Man-like, that, isn't it? Right, now, so that looks absolutely hoofing. However, I think of all the Gucci equipment we've been showing off of late, that's probably the most flash-looking but operationally ineffective for several reasons, right? First of all, you obviously need your limbs to steer, so it doesn't seem to be holding a rifle. It's just got a pistol. If you can't cover yourself as you're moving, it seems a bit pointless that you're going to have a company of blokes on the ships anyway, putting down covering fire or covering you as you move. Secondly, it's fucking noisy, which you couldn't really tell from that video because the BBC's video's shit. But it was extremely noisy. So if you were if you have 5 or 6 guys with them, let's say you have a section of like 8 blokes, using them all at once, it will sound like Mount Vesuvius has just erupted and it's the end of the world. So there's that I'm really thinking about. It's not as tactical as going in a MIB or a RIB, or probably even a chopper at this point. Third one, I don't really see the point in these sort of dudes going up 1 at a time, 2 at a time. Like that doesn't seem to have any tactical use either. It's, unless you want to take on 50 Somalian pirates with a pistol by yourself. It seems a bit silly. However, it does look cool. So if the main purpose of Gravity Industries is to sort of assist us with recruiting or something, I can see the appeal. However, even that, I would say, the Royal Marines has never, ever struggled to recruit. Like, ever. If you're a young lad and you want to do something wary as fuck, which young lads will always want to do, they always go in the Marines or the Paras. I don't think either of those regiments have ever struggled to recruit anyone. So I don't really see the point. It's just leading on from that story I read out a couple of weeks back where they were doing the Future Commando Force stuff. That was pretty Gucci, but that actually had utility. You know, where you had the guys with touch screens on the body arms, so you had a guy who was like covering fire when the bloke moves in to set off these drone-mounted grenades and Gucci cameras to clear urban environments and stuff. They looked really useful. This, I think, is more about free airtime. But yeah, pretty Gucci. Definitely cool to watch. I'll tell you what, though, they want to get them. I know my mate Ben, he runs rib charters down in Weymouth off the beach. Go and check him out if anyone's in Weymouth. He should get one of them. Like, people would pay a fortune to fucking fly about on one of them over the sea. So yeah, quality, but I question the use of them. Have I seen Paz's video about UK Army recruitment? I've seen Paz make plenty of them. It is proper shit, isn't it, ours? It's all like... like, do you remember the one where the guy got out his praying rig? Like, they're out on a patrol, they're like, Gucci, you're on defence, and he's like, right, lads, sling your weapons. Akbar needs to fucking... needs to get his praying rig out. And then he's like that, tactical prayer mat, tactical prayer rig, Aladdin trousers, and then he's doing his tactical fucking praying, which is one of the daftest things I've ever seen. Like, I don't think, even if you are a very devout follower of the religion of pieces, I don't think that there's not going to be any special dispensation in there if you're at war. I know from reading large amounts of the Quran when I was in the military, there's loads of stuff in there about how you don't have to observe Ramadan fasting if you're fighting. Ultimately, the Prophet was a warlord. He wasn't like Jesus. You know, someone slaps you on the left cheek and you're off with them your right. He was a professional soldier and he killed his enemies. So there's a lot of things in there that give you special dispensation if you're fighting in a war. And I know the Sikhs are the same, right? So, and there's all that stuff about 1 day's fighting is better than 1,000 days praying and stuff like that. There's dispensation in there, so you don't even have to bother praying when you're out on operations. So that's a bit weird, that, isn't it? It's just our warm and fuzzy, ridiculous recruiting drive that we do in the UK. Makes no sense to me. Again, who are you trying to recruit? Do you want a bunch of namby-pamby, goat-stroking, bead-shaking hippies and soy boys in your army? You're not going to be much use, are you? Yeah. Winston, I just have to keep using metaphors. I never ever say the I or the M word. I just try to completely avoid them. And yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? Because it's religion of pieces. Because if you criticise certain religions, they end up with a piece here over there, piece here over there, fucking piece here over there. Religion of pieces. But another thing that's annoying me about YouTube with regards to this sort of censorship, I used to get 6,000-7,000 views on my BBC Spews. I'm getting about 2.5k now. And you know, if anyone remembers Bearing, that funny Aussie guy, he went from nowhere. He had like 10,000 subs and he went to 250,000 in about 3 months because YouTube knows conservative, centrist, libertarian types want to watch that type of content. So they used to spread your stuff and say, oh yeah, you might like this, you might like that. Have you noticed they don't do that anymore? Because they don't want people to win the argument. And they know people like me and Paz and Rotten Politics and Bert and everybody else are good at winning the argument against communists. So they just don't show you them anymore. Every one of them channels has gone stagnant. And you've got to ask yourself, has Paz or We Got a Problem or Rotten Politics or myself or any of the big conservative commentariat on YouTube suddenly changed everything? Does our content go from being really, really good and popular to just totally sucking and it's changed all of a sudden? Like what? I haven't suddenly stopped mouthing off myself and hired some fucking soy boy to come and do this. It's still me. So unless you are living in cloud cuckoo land, which I'm sure my critics will, they'll just say, yeah, Matt, you used to get 6,000 or 7,000 views because you used to be good. But you've just changed, man. You've changed. I haven't changed. It's YouTube taking the piss out of all of us. That's what it is. So nobody watches our shit anymore. I mean, Paz has been between 39 and 40k followers for like months. Months. Because they're not showing it to people anymore. It's a proper stitch up. I'm pissed off, man. I've been basically stuck on the same number for months. And I don't think I've started doing anything differently. So you've got to ask yourself, is it shenanigans or do we all just suck all of a sudden? It really is shocking. Peppy, it's shocking. They're not showing my videos to anyone. If I'm getting less than 3,000 views, that's like not even half my subscribers are watching it. They are literally not showing it to anyone. There's not a single person on here who's watching, like, I don't know, Chubby Brown, anyone who's northern and swears a lot and tells jokes and does a bit of political commentary. They're not showing it to anyone. Literally nobody. If you're not a subscriber to my channel already, they're not showing you it. So please, if you can be asked, like it and share it and put it about on social media. Pick a video you like. Maybe not this one because I am a bit rambling in these live streams. Pick a video you like and share it because YouTube aren't fucking doing it. The horrible, sneaky bastards. It's like, what? Because they can't win the argument, they just put both balls on the scales. It does my head in. Like, they promote the shit out of it. It used to happen years ago. I've been watching YouTube for years. I used to like go on there and I'd be watching something like, you know, Sargon. And then in the side, it was all like, you might like this, you might like that. And it's like all loads of other... It's how I found Bearing, it's how I found Paz. It's like, there's loads of people who you'd never even heard of and they just used to get recommended to you. And now it's like, oh, you watched the Angry Bootneck because you're one of his subscribers and you purposely went looking for him. You might like Owen Jones, The Guardian. No, they might not like that. You fucking arseholes. You're doing it on purpose. Steve... Paz has got a new channel going. I know Rotten Politics has started a new channel. It seems like the best way to try and start again is to get a new channel going and hope they don't strike it, but they'll just strike it. I'm not going down that avenue for the time being. If Rotten Politics manages to pull it off and somehow he's got twice as many followers on that one in 6 months' time, then maybe I will remake, as I joked about, the happy, jovial, good-natured, fucking autoerotic asphyxiation, pill-popping, sexual deviant lefty channel. Maybe I'll make that. Although that's a bit of a mouthful. I might just put jovial, sexual deviant, liberal bootneck. Yeah, there we go. That's quite short. Jovial, sexual deviant, liberal bootneck. What about fist my sphincter bootneck? Susan will love that. If it's good enough for primary school kids, yeah, to witness gimps walking down the high street with giant spiky dildos, wielding them like giant clubs, battering lesbians. If that's good enough for primary school kids, surely it's good enough for YouTube, yeah? Fistmysphincter.com. That's fine. That's fine. But if you want to put something like vote for Boris, yeah, the milk toast fucking wimp, liberal, red, conservative, climate crisis, won't defend the statues, won't stand up for fucking any of the native working class population, won't do anything about the migrant crisis, won't put the Navy in the channel to stop us getting invaded, locks everybody else up with coronavirus, but fucking keeps inviting random strangers in. I mean, seriously, what's right wing about Boris Johnson? But you're not even allowed to like promote him. YouTube, the oven window's gone whoop, and it's just totally shifted what you're allowed to talk about. And all you're allowed to talk about is left-wing talking points. In fact, not even left-wing talking points. Far left extremism. That's it. Extinction Rebellion, yeah. The world's going to end in 5 years. Remember when AOC said that? Fucking cheers then. We're all still here. We're there. It's lunacy. You can't even talk. Centre-left is controversial now. You talk about something centre-left and they go, fucking Nazi. It's like, what do you want me to do? Anyway, that's enough dripping for one night. Let's talk about some news, shall we? Right, we've got this one, which is just more of the same that is doing my head in, right? This bonny lass, and she's quite bonny, so it's a fucking shame. Obviously, if she's promptly blew her face off trying to make comedy YouTube videos and she's now got a fucking head like, looks like she's been bobbing for apples in the deep fat fryer, I feel extremely sorry for her. I don't want to see an attractive young girl like that suddenly walking around looking like fucking Freddy Krueger with a wig on. There's nothing good about it. But it's repeating what I keep talking about, that for some reason, in the last 5-6 years, young people seem to have decided that they should be free from ever being upset. This is the level of control the far left are happy with. They seem to think, again, the old adages that I like so much, the old adages are always the best. Those that give up fucking freedom for safety will get neither. And these people think they are willing to hand over every aspect of their freedom if the government can just stop them ever feeling sad. What a bunch of fucking losers. If you even think about that for a moment, anyone with the IQ higher than that of a ham sandwich can see that it doesn't make sense. It is irrational and illogical. You can't expect the state to stop you feeling sad or to police manners. Manners, like I keep talking about, state-mandated politeness. What do you want from me? Abby, I'm really sorry if your fucking head looks like a shredded wheat. I'm sorry, and it is tragic, because you're definitely worth a portion. But, hey, to be fair, you'd probably still horse one into her, even if she has got a fucking head like a melted welly now. I mean, she's probably still got a good figure. So it's fine, just sit in the dark, yeah, sit in the dimly lit corner of the pub, and I'm sure you'll still be fending the lads off. But basically, dancer Abby Quinnan was badly burned when a social media stunt went wrong. And she's received horrible messages from trolls on Instagram, and that is basically the sum total of the story, right? I shit you not. That's it. It's young woman burns her face off. People are rude on social media. Well, so what? So what? Do you think Simon Weston never heard a cruel thing? Simon Weston really does have a face like a slapped arse because he got it blown off in the fucking Falklands. Do you think he never heard anything nasty? Think Simon Weston, everywhere he went, people were like, look at that handsome cunt. I'll tell you what, I'll Google him because I'm sure a lot of you young people don't actually know who Simon Weston is. Simon Weston got his face blew off in the Falkland Islands. There he is. Now, I will say old age has been kind to him. Look, seems like he's finally got something akin to a face there. Well done, Simon. I'm not taking the piss out of Simon. He got his fucking face blew off serving his country. But the point is, do you think that bloke ever heard anything cruel? What do they want the state to do? I remember being a little kid in the supermarket and there was a woman with a massive birthmark on her face. I was about 5. It's one of my earliest memories I was younger, 4. And I remember walking along and seeing this woman with a massive birthmark on her face. And I went, oh, and pointed at her open mouth. I even feel shame about it now because I'm not an horrible bastard. And I've told you guys before, it's things I did when I was really, really young. And I've been having a beer and chatting to my dad or my brother and said, like, you know, when you have those weird sleepless nights and you think about stuff that's completely out of left field, nothing logical about it, but you start plumbing the depths of your subconscious for anything that brings shame upon you, don't you? Because this is the inward monitor. The religious people would claim it was something to do with God giving you a conscience. And the biological existentialist types would say it's obviously just a self-defense mechanism of some kind, inward reflection. Either way, it's linked to a lot of what Jordan Peterson says. You should try and live a virtuous life and be a good person. And try not to be a dick, and try not to lie. Try not to be immoral. Because you can't get away from yourself. Your inward monitor, unless you're a sociopath, it gets you. And I remember that, one of my earliest memories, pointing at a woman because I was about 4, and it shocked me. And my mother, bless her, because this was the 80s, went, yeah, and proper twatted me around the fucking head. So, I mean, probably made the woman feel better because she had a big nasty birthmark across her face, and I had a big fuck-off red hand across my face for about a week. So we were both in the same club come the end of the day. But that's Simon Weston, if you didn't know. And Simon Weston probably heard a lot of cruel jibes. Simon Weston didn't run away and go to the government and say, right, you have to stop people making me feel bad. Yeah? A little kid called me an ugly cunt today. Get him. A woman, I asked her for a phone number. She said, fuck off, Crispy. Get her. Get her. I demand state-mandated politeness. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Fine them, jail them, lock them up. Fuck. It's lunacy. On the face of it, it's lunacy. Quinnen, honestly, it's a fucking shame. She's a bonny lass. Nice looking couple. She blew her fucking face off doing some ridiculous social media trick where a highly flammable liquid fireball shot across the room. So, she's there going, will you still love me? Obviously, if he's not an arsehole, of course he will. I wouldn't leave my missus if she suddenly looked like, had a face like a slapped arse. But, what's the point in this story? I was hysterical. People have been mean to me on social media. They have the right to be mean. Abby. I wouldn't be mean. And I'd stick up for you and support you if anyone was cruel to you if I was with you in person. But everyone has the right to be mean. If you're going to start trying to legislate so people can't be rude, you will give up something very precious that you'll never get back. You can't have this. Free people have the right to be arseholes. They do, don't they? They just do. And as the system works. Yes, Al, it is her own fault, but we were all daft when we were 20. I'm not saying she deserves it. Not really. It's her own fault, but yeah, but daft kids, so what? It's sad and it's a shame, and I'd be as sympathetic as you could be if I was to see her in person. But so what? Doesn't mean she can fucking demand that everybody on planet Earth has to be fucking polite all the time. It makes no sense. The argument is fucking ridiculous. So, seriously, be nice to people, yeah. And society will police itself in that way. If you're horrible to people all the time, then people will judge you. If we were in a pub, me and Abby, having a chat, and I was like, oh, I'll tell you what, love, it doesn't look that bad. I would lie. I have a soft spot for young, attractive women, like most men, right? I'd lie. I'd be like, oh, Abby, it's fine. If you squint a bit, fuck it, you can't even tell. Can't even tell. I've got sunburn look. Oh, see, I look worse than you. Cheers. Get your baps out. I'm kidding. It's shocking. But don't tell me we have to do anything about it. Don't tell me it's a front page BBC story. Don't tell me we need to fucking do anything about it. We don't need to legislate. We don't need to fine. We don't need to arrest anybody. Nobody needs to go to jail because people are fucking rude. Lots of people have been rude to me. Fucking suck it up, Abby. Christ almighty. And you're a dancer, it didn't do anything to your body. What about all the poor cunts with no legs? Think about them, eh? You've just got a slightly crispy face. What about the fuckers what about Stephen Hawking? Yeah? He can't dance. Think yourself lucky and stop fucking dripping. Right? Right. Let's do something else. What have we got? Noel Clarke. Adam Deacon says he was accused. Now, I will say this about Noel Clarke, right? One, I'm happy to see that, as usual, the Conservatives have wore the moral high ground and haven't endlessly lined up, constantly sneering at Noel Clarke, unlike the left, when anybody annoys them. Good that. Same as with Trudeau, when he revealed to have a blackface fetish. Justin Trudeau's put on more blackface than I've put on fucking cam cream. Right? He has. He's put on more blackface than I've put on mosquito nets. And I've deployed to fucking Africa and the Middle East 5 times. Yes, Winston Stephen Hawking dead. There isn't a better choice for a world-famous quadriplegic. In fact, he was even worse than a quadriplegic, wasn't he? He was everything other than his fucking lips. I don't know the term for that. Everything fucked but the lips. Someone Google it for me. So anyway, Noel Clarke. So I will say, innocent until proven guilty. I'm not going to jump all over his balls until he gets fucking charged with something. But I will say this. I lean towards him being massively guilty because of a very simple reason. The story was broke by The Guardian. Well, 2 reasons. And secondly, look at him. Look at him. We know that the humble working class northern white arsehole is the bottom rung. And Mr. Clark doesn't fit that category. So he is exactly the right person that they would want to defend. They would crawl over fucking broken glass and hot coals to defend him. If there was any way they could defend him, there would be. So the fact that they haven't seems to nail it on for me. The Guardian would do anything to defend North. Anything. Owen Jones would fucking crawl through hellfire to suck a pair of tits if it would get Mr. Clark off scot-free. So he's fucking done it is my gut feeling. What do you think, right? Because it's identity politics now. It's a religion, right? It's a religion. And if you look a certain way, they will always defend you. Always. Because they're obsessed, they're prejudiced. They're obsessed with what you look like. And if you look a certain way, they think it says something about you. They think it says something about your character. They think you're always a good person. They think you're more moral. So I lean towards guilty as a fucking very, very fat child with a pocket full of stolen Kinder eggs outside the sweet shop. He's going to have done it if the Guardians stitched him up. And that made me laugh as well. Even the blokes having to go at him. So I mean, fuck knows what. Maybe he's a proper sex pest. Who knows, eh? What else is good? Oh, this one. Right, I'll tie up with this one. How fucking embarrassing is it that the UK really is? It's not even a separate entity anymore. The power of the United States culture is so staggering. The world's only real hyperpower, culturally, financially, militarily. Everything they do, the outposts of the American empire copies. It's good to see that we haven't had the same level of ridiculous hysteria as a result. But this story is just a carbon copy of what's gone on over there. There shouldn't be a murder charge. But I'll read you the instance anyway. It's literally just, oh, the Americans have done it. Quick, let's fucking copy them. It says Dalian Atkinson, if everyone doesn't remember him, he was a footballer. It said he was tasered 6 times longer than standard. Well, he was probably fitter than your average bloke, so giving him a quick jump with the taser didn't do anything. It says he's charged with a murder of Dalian Atkinson during an altercation. Murder. Do you think that's murder? A copper tasering someone. That's not going to be something that you're going to use to murder someone, is it? Although, do you think it is? Seems like there's a bit of dissent in the comments there. If your murder is plotting to kill someone, would you plot to engineer it so that you would be in an altercation with the person you want to murder and then do the murder by tasering them for a bit longer than you're supposed to? Do you think that is a plausible fucking scenario for murder? Murder's like cutting your wife's fucking brakes, putting rat poison in your husband's porridge. That's murder. This is, at best, worst, manslaughter. It's not a murder. You have to... Second degree murder is where you what? Do it on purpose but don't plan it beforehand. First degree murder is where you do it on purpose but plan it beforehand. How the fuck is that murder? Tasering a guy who was causing shit. Yeah, murder by taser. Kicked him in the head twice. Now that is out of order. But again, it's not a murder, is it? Jeffrey Dahmer didn't go, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Taser some cunt and boot him in the head twice. Or, Harold Shipman. Fuck poisoning people. Taser him, boot him in the head twice. It was a copper dealing with a fucking hard bloke who was a former professional athlete who was probably very fucking hard to get down, and he was only backed up by a policewoman who was charged with assault. So it says, PC Monk and 31-year-old Betley Smith officers at West Mercia Police arrived at his house shortly before 01:30, probably pissed or drugged up then, after neighbours had reported him acting strangely and shouting in the street. When they arrived, he attempted to deploy his taser when Mr. Atkinson opened the door of his father's home, acting erratically and claiming to be the Messiah. Yeah, all part of the plan, all part of the murder. He knew he was going to be calling himself the Messiah at 1:30 in the morning, right? Of course, that's part of the plan. He was like, yeah, watch me plan this nefarious murder. When my victim wakes me up at 1:30 in the morning and starts claiming to be the Messiah, well, how the fuck did you know he was going to do that? How did you manage to rig that part of the plan into your nefarious murder, PC bastard? How did you do it? It said it failed, and then Mr. Atkinson came out of the property, went to the end of the drive, he deployed a second taser, which again failed, so he's in the shit here. Looking at a large, athletic man who used to be a professional footballer, backed up by his little midget woman going, fuck, what am I going to do now? It said Mr. Atkinson then punched the glass plane, which shattered, and then he fucking fired his taser. It said the default setting's 5 seconds, but he pressed the trigger over Aniston for 33 seconds. The third cartridge was effective, and then he fell to the ground. Juror said when he was unresponsive, officers set about him. PC Mom kicked him in the head. With such force, imprints were left in 2 parts of his forehead, totally out of order, while Mrs. Betley Smith used a baton to strike him a number of times. Yeah, it's out of order. Police brutality, I think, right? I'd agree. But it's a scary situation. He smashed a window. He's a former athlete. Bloke might have thought, I better give him a few digs so he doesn't get back up. Who knows? It said, another described that tentative kicks were followed by a final powerful kick as he lay motionless on the floor, and he described it as similar to the sort of kick would be required to move a ball upfield. Other officers were called to the scene after they pressed the emergency activation button. Definitely press the emergency activation button if you want to murder someone, yeah. So the medics arrived promptly. And she twatted him with a baton, so he's getting done for assault. There they both are in the dock. Yeah, kicked him to wake him up. Wakey, wakey, wha-boomf. Both officers deny wrongdoing. However, the prosecution say the force was excessive. Probably was slightly excessive. But again, police are doing a difficult job there. Probably quite scary. 1:30 in the morning, dealing with a fucking lunatic. You've got to give them a bit of leeway. Really serious injury, kicked him in the head. Blah, blah, blah. Short version is, folks, no, it's nothing like a murder. I would reckon normal common sense would say that's manslaughter, right? And he was responding to a distress call. He was athletic. He smashed windows. Probably quite scary. But he shouldn't have booted him in the fucking head and he overused his taser. So you'd probably give him about 6 years for manslaughter and he'd get out in 3. Anyone think that seems about fair? I've always said the same. You should always slap people's wrists when there's an incident. Same with Sergeant Alexander Blackman when he got fucked by the Navy. He should have been done for manslaughter. He shot someone and he shouldn't have done. But he was dealing with a man who was a murdering terrorist, and you can't expect cold-blooded reality from a normal human who's got all these stress hormones, the heart's pumping, bum, 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 bum. You don't think perfectly rationally. I'm not saying that the copper hasn't done something wrong, but it should be slapped fucking wrists so the rest of the police get the message. No booting people in the fucking head, like no breakdancing on someone's face when they're out on the deck. But you don't need to constantly just copy the mob. Does that not make sense? 6 year for manslaughter or whatever. We shouldn't be judging him. I'm just giving you my opinion. Obviously, it's a fucking YouTube channel. I don't see how it even got to court as a murder trial. Like I said, if you walked into your fucking living room and found a bloke shafting your missus on the fucking living room rug and you booted him in the fucking head and he dropped down dead, you wouldn't get done for murder. You probably wouldn't even get done. You'd get done for like manslaughter with diminished responsibility or something, because they would accept the fact that your blood was up and you weren't acting entirely rationally. So surely it's the same thing for a police officer. They're not fucking androids. And I don't like sticking up for the police, especially in these partisan times where the police are blatantly arrayed against us. But you've got to be consistent and just apply common sense to everything. It's not a murder. Holly, you can disagree, that's fine. We allow dissent on this channel. But I'm just saying, murder, I don't think so. Manslaughter, diminished responsibility, his blood was up, volleyed him, 6 years. That's me. I'm not on the fucking jury. I don't know everything. But it shouldn't have been a murder charge. Sort of weird though, isn't it? We just copy the Americans all the time in everything. Really, really weird. Educate the fuzz. Well, I have long been an advocate of that. Kick his guide dog. That's a good one. I've long been an advocate of sorting out the police. And in fact, I'll leave you with that, so it'll give you something to watch. I believe I called it, Are the Met Hiring Coppers or Whoppers? Is that up there? Yeah, here we go. It's an old one. Hello, folks. I'll leave it in the comments for you to peruse at your leisure. Or if you're an American, leisure. Peruse it at your leisure. There you go. Many times I have criticised the police, and I will continue to do so when it is warranted. But I don't think that's a murder, and I don't think if it wasn't for these political partisan reasons we've got nowadays, that man would ever have been charged with a murder. Probably several uniform code legal fucking ramifications and a manslaughter charge, but not a murder. Not when you tase a bloke and give him a few digs. Doesn't really make sense to me. I think it's more political. The civil service, the police, they shouldn't be political. That's why Extinction Rebellion get treated with kid gloves. That's why the Football Lads Alliance get the shite beat out of them. That's why 30 years of raping children went by relatively unmolested. Because we have a partisan police force. I can be against all of it. The police need depoliticising, and they need their training to be fucking twice as long and 10 times as hard. That's how we fix this problem. So, Holly, it's fine, we disagree. But I'm trying to be consistent here. Depoliticise the police. Train the police properly. Hire more ex-fucking military who've got a pair and know how to deal with an altercation calmly, because they've had it happen to them dozens of times before. Stop hiring little fat midgets with degrees in fucking Latin who have never been anywhere near a bar fight and don't know what a gunfight looks like and have got no fucking confidence dealing with rough, violent men. That's why they panic. That's why they make mistakes. That's why they kill people that don't deserve it. It's the same in the United States. Same in the UK. The fucking police need training properly. More soldiers, less fucking woke English literature graduates with a fat arse. Right? That would fix the problem, or it would at least make a start to it. Anyway, everybody, I am fucking off. Thanks for watching. Like it, share it, check out all my links. YouTube won't do it, so some fucker has to. I'm relying on you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll probably do one tomorrow night, right? Why not? And I will make sure I do the BBC Spews this weekend, even though nobody watches it, because I'm a stubborn bastard. And if Susan wants to get me off this fucking platform, she will have to drag me off it by my short and curlies, the nasty authoritarian little twat. Right? Cheers, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you very, very soon. Good night.